Hello friends, this is Anuraag Nagpal. Welcome to the fresh episode of My Star. As we know, we are celebrating Independence Day. Let's look back to the journey and interesting facts about it. When India became independent in August 1947, it faced a series of great challenges as a result of partition. 8 million refugees had to come into our country from what was now Pakistan. These people need to be found new homes and jobs. Then there was a problem of princely states. Almost 500 of them, each ruled by a Maharaja or a Nawab, each of whom was pursued to join a new nation. The problems of the princely states and the refugees had to be addressed immediately. In a longer term, a nation had to adopt a political system which would best serve the hopes and expectations of the country. India's population in 1947 was large, almost 345 million. It was also divided. It was divided in higher and low classes between the majority Hindus and the citizens who follow other faiths. The citizens of this vast land spoke many different languages, wore different kind of dresses, ate different kind of foods, and followed different professions. So how could they be made to live in a one nation state? To the problem of unity was added the problem of development. At independence, vast majority of Indians lived in villages. Farmers depended on the monsoon for their survival. So did the non-farm sector of the rural economy. For example, if a crop failed, barbers, weavers and carpenters would not get paid for their services either. In the cities, factory workers lived in crowded slums with little access to education and healthcare. Clearly, the new nation had to lift its masses out of poverty by increasing the productivity of agriculture and by promoting new job-creating industries. Unity and development had to go hand in hand. If divisions in different sections of India were not healed, they could lead in violent and costly conflicts, high caste fighting with low caste, one religion with another, and so on. At the same time, if the fruits of the economic development did not reach the broad mass of population, it could create fresh division. For example, between rich and the poor, between cities and the countryside, and between regions of India which are prosperous and the regions which are lag behind. A constitution is written between December 1946 and November 1949. Some 300 men have a series of meetings about country's political future. The meetings of the Constituent Assembly were held in New Delhi, but the participants come all over the India and from different political parties. These discussions resulted in framing of Indian Constitution, which come in effect on 26 January 1950. One feature of Constitution was its adoption to universal adult franchise. All Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state and national elections. This was a revolutionary step, for never before had been Indians allowed to choose their own leaders. Soon after independence, India chose to grant this right to all its citizens, regardless of gender, class, or education. Second feature of Constitution was that it guaranteed equality before the law, regardless of class or gender. Third feature of Constitution was that it offered special privilege for the poorest and most disadvantaged Indians. Described as a slur and a blot on the fair name of India was abolished. Another major debate concerned language. Many believed that English should leave India with the Britishers. Its place, they argued, should be taken by Hindi. But people who do not speak Hindi were of different opinion. Finally, the compromise was arrived that Hindi would be our official language and English would be used in courts, services and communication between one state and another. Planning for development, lifting India and Indians out of poverty, and building a modern technical and industrial base were among the major objectives of India. In 1950, government set up a planning commission to help design and execute suitable policies for economic development. There was a broad agreement what was known as mixed economy model. Here, both state and private sector would play important and complementary roles. What specifically these roles to be? Which industries should be initiated by the state and which by the market? How to achieve a balance between different regions and state was to be defined by the Planning Commission. In 1956, second five-year plan was formulated. It strongly focused on heavy industries such as steel and building of large dams. It was under the control of states. As today, when we look at our country after more than 7 decades of its independence, how well has the country done in this time, and to what extent it has fulfilled the ideas set out in our constitution? That India is still united and democratic are the achievements we might justly be proud of. Many foreign observers believe that India could not survive as a single country. It would break down into many small parts, each region or linguistic group seeking to form a nation of its own. However, 17 general elections have been held since independence, as well as hundreds of local and state elections are held. There is a free press and an independent judiciary. Finally, a fact that people here speak many different languages and follow different faiths have not come in the way of national unity. Some part and some groups of India have benefited a great deal from economic development. They live in large houses, they dine in expensive restaurants, send their children to expensive private schools, and take expensive foreign trips. At the same time, others continue to live below the poverty line, housed in urban slums or living in remote villages on lands which yield little. They cannot afford to send their children to schools. But when you see at macro level, India isn't far behind from any developed nation and progressing in a massive pace. India today is an important part of United Nations. India has created its own identity globally in all the fields, whether it is space, science, medical or information technology. We can proudly say that India is on the list of countries which has already reached on Mars. Indians are doing great work in all the departments. I must say the journey we started in August 1947, and perhaps we haven't reached the goal yet, but with this commitment and this pace, we shall reach the goal very soon. Jai Hind!